Thanks for joining us. We begin this news hour in Gaza, where Israeli forces have once again targeted schools sheltering Palestinian civilians. At least 15 people have been killed in the latest attacks on 2 schools east of Gaza City. Another 30 people have been injured and many are still missing. Palestinian officials say Israeli forces have hit more than 170 shelters for displaced people, most of them schools, since the war began. Palestinian journalist Ibrahim Al-Khalili reports from al-Zahraa school.
We are here standing inside al-Zahraa school after it has been targeted by 2 missiles falling down them on this school directly, resulting in killing many children and injuring others. Civil defense forces, unfortunately, have nothing to work with, and they are not being able to rescue the civilians trapped under this school's rubble. The situation is very catastrophic. Civilians are trying to rescue, and they are using the donkey cars just to move and transportation. As you can see, the situation is very catastrophic as civilians are gathering here. As you can see, civil defense forces, ambulances are trying to rescue, but unfortunately, we lack of many equipment to save the people and civilians trapped under this rubble.
And in central Gaza, Israeli airstrikes have killed 16 Palestinians at the al-Buraj refugee camp. Women and children are among the dead. At least 14 others have been injured and taken to hospital. In southern Gaza, the Israeli army has announced new evacuation orders for 9 towns and neighbourhoods within the area of Khan Younis. Palestinians have been told to move to the so-called humanitarian zone nearby, but Israel has repeatedly targeted and killed Palestinians in the so-called safe zones. Hudri is in Khan Younis in southern Gaza. And what more do we know about, firstly, this strike on the school?
Okay, so first, 2 schools were targeted, the Abdel Fattah Hamoud and al-Zahraa school, and both of these schools are in the Tufah district in the Gaza City. At least 15 Palestinians were killed, 30 were injured, and according to several defense teams and the paramedics, there are a lot of Palestinians still missing and trapped under the rubble. They're still trying to rescue and pull as much bodies as possible, but we just made a quick research about the number of schools that have been targeted in the past 2 weeks across the Gaza Strip, and we found that the Israeli forces targeted at least 8 schools. Those schools, all of them had Palestinians that were sheltering in there and were seeking refuge in there, and they have been targeting those schools without any prior notice, without any warning, and that's why dozens of Palestinians were killed in those airstrikes. This is not the first time the Israeli forces target a school. It has been multiple and continuous over the past couple of weeks.
And Hind, of course, more evacuation orders in Khan Younis. What, of course, does that mean in terms of disruption for large numbers of people there?
Well, we're talking about hundreds of families. We're talking about thousands of families, and this area in particular has been evacuated the past couple of weeks. The same exact zone, the same exact blocks, the same exact families are in the same exact cycle of displacement another time in less than a month. Those blocks recently evacuated, and they went back to Khan Younis after the Israeli forces withdrew from those parts, but at that time Palestinians were scattered in the streets. They did not have a place to go to. They used to sleep on the street for more than a week. Now those Palestinians are again in the cycle of displacement. They do not have anywhere to go. They can't go to Rafah because Israel is taking over Rafah and there's a ground operation there. They can't go to Deir al-Balah in the middle area because it's packed and overwhelmed with Palestinians. We're talking about at least 1 million Palestinians squeezed in the middle area, and all they have is the western parts of Khan Younis. But again, the western parts of Khan Younis, which is called al-Mawasi, designated as a safe zone even by the Israeli forces, have been multiply targeted by the Israeli forces. So Palestinians right now are in a state of panic, of frustration, displaced again more than once in less than a month, and again they do not have any place to go to. And according to those Palestinians, they're saying that wherever they go, they're still being a target by the Israeli forces.
Yeah, it seems to be this continual cycle of attacks and displacement over and over again. Hind Houdoui in Khan Younis, thank you.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.